Hey there, and welcome to Family Revenge. We're so glad you're here. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can stay with us for every twist and turn. Let's jump right in. The first time Jason called me Mom, I almost dropped the spoon I was holding. He was 3. Big brown eyes, barely spoke above a whisper back then. We were stirring pancake batter in the kitchen, and out of nowhere he said, Mom, can I lick the spoon? Just like that. No buildup, no hesitation. I froze for a second, blinked hard, and said, Yeah, baby. Of course, my name's Dana. I'm 42, live in Topeka, Kansas, and I've been the responsible one since I was old enough to hold a mop. Oldest of 3 girls. April came next. Loud, funny, always the center of attention. People liked her. Teachers, neighbors, our drunk uncle at Christmas. And then there was Emily, the youngest, the one who could do no wrong. She'd break a plate and someone else got yelled at, usually me. April was the type who'd scream and laugh in the same breath. She'd drag Emily into her messes and still walk away the favorite. Me? I cleaned it all up. I was the one making dinner when Mom forgot. I was the one getting Emily to school when April flaked. I became a pro at holding it together, even when nobody said thank you. So when Jason came into my life, this tiny, solemn boy with trust issues and no real place to land, I swore I'd be the one thing he could count on. I adopted him out of foster care when I was 29. He didn't ask for toys, didn't ask for hugs either. Just wanted to know if he could stay. That was all. Do I have to leave here too? He asked me once, real quiet. I told him, No, baby. You're home. Forever. That promise became my everything. Jason was mine. Not by blood, but by choice. And that mattered more. Before we go on, real quick, tell me where you're listening from today. I never thought it'd be my own sisters who'd test that promise. But April, she had a way of making things about her, even when she said she didn't. So when she sent out a glossy look-at-me announcement for her retirement from the State Department, complete with an RSVP card and matching envelope, I already felt something off. Jason was 15 then, building radios in the garage, already saving for college. He saw the invite sitting on the kitchen table and smiled like it meant something, like it meant he was finally included. He didn't know what was coming, but I did. He didn't know what was coming, but I did. April posted the announcement 2 days later. Picture of her in a blazer, holding up one of those state employee plaques with a fake gold seal. Caption said, After 25 years of service, I'm finally free. Time to celebrate this next chapter in style. Then came the group message. April, group chat. Hey fam, big retirement bash coming up. Catered food, open bar, DJ dancing, bring your best sparkle. Formal dress, adults only. I don't do boring. Jason saw it over my shoulder and lit up. We're going, right? I can finally give her that radio. He meant the old radio. April gave me 10 years ago, this clunky wooden box she found at a flea market. It had been dead since day one. Jason took it into the garage last fall, cleaned it out, replaced the wiring, even 3D printed a volume knob. He rigged custom speakers in the sides and painted a little silver plate with her initials on it. He'd wrapped it in navy paper with little gold stars, wrote, Congrats, Aunt April, on the card in blocky, careful handwriting. It had been sitting on the kitchen counter for 2 weeks. Then the invite came in the mail. Thick envelope, glossy cream cardstock with gold edges. April's name printed in some fake cursive font like she was royalty. Inside, time, date, RSVP info, dress code, and at the bottom, in bold, adults only. 21 plus, strictly enforced. I didn't say anything, just stared at it. Jason was across the table, messing with his wire cutters, and he looked up when I didn't hand him the card. Is something wrong? I tried to keep my face neutral, but I could feel it falling. He was already reading me. He always could. He got quiet. She doesn't want me there, does she? I cleared my throat. It's just an age limit. There'll be alcohol, probably dancing. Not exactly kid-friendly. He didn't buy it. I'm not a kid, he said. I'm 16. I helped build the stage for the prom. And I fixed that thing for her. I thought she'd... He didn't finish. Then softer. Is it because I'm not really family? My jaw clenched. I wanted to say no. I wanted to tell him he was wrong. But I couldn't pretend this was the first time. I thought back to last Christmas. My mom had hung up those little red stockings on the mantle. One for me, one for April, one for Emily. Even one for Emily's damn dog. Nothing for Jason. When I asked her why, she just said, Oh, I didn't know if he'd be here. I thought about the way she'd introduce him. Not my grandson, not Dana's son, just Dana's boy. Like he was temporary. I remembered April's voice at that barbecue 2 years ago. Jason standing 5 feet away. And she just casually says, "So are you going to tell him he's adopted or let him figure it out at 18?" Like he was deaf. I never told him about that moment. Never told him how badly I wanted to throw my plate at her. He was watching me now, like he already knew what I wasn't saying. "Okay," he said, and started putting his tools back in the box. "It's fine. I'll stay home." I opened my mouth, closed it. He picked up the gift and walked it back to the garage without another word. Quick note: before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. The worst part wasn't that he looked sad. He didn't. He just looked practiced, like he'd already rehearsed not being wanted. And that's what gutted me, because I'd promised him he'd belong. I told him he had a place, and my own damn sister made him feel like a stranger. Again. I reached for my phone. The RSVP card was still sitting on the table. I flipped it over and stared at the gold lettering one last time. Then I walked it straight to the trash. I didn't give a reason. Just checked the regretfully declined box on the RSVP card, sealed it, and dropped it in the mailbox the next morning. 4 hours later, April texted. April, text, "Hope it's not about the age thing. Trying to be fair to everyone. No kids means no stress, that's all." Right, because Jason was just another kid, same as a toddler with sticky fingers or someone's baby crying through speeches. I didn't answer. Then Emily chimed in. Emily, text, "I know this is hard, but can we not turn it into drama? April's party is a big deal." 2 minutes later, my phone rang. "Mom," I let it go to voicemail, but she called again. On the third ring, I picked up. "Dana," she said, voice already heavy with guilt trip syrup. "It's just one night. Don't punish your sister over this. She's worked hard. Jason isn't invited." "Well, not everyone was, honey. It's adults only. Lots of families do that." "Mom, he's family." Silence. Then, "You know we love him, but this is a celebration. It's not personal," except it was. Every single time, it was. Later that night, the group chat started lighting up. April, group chat. "Seriously? You're sitting out over one rule?" Emily. "You always make things about you." MOM. "This is supposed to be fun. Jason's not the only one not invited." I stared at my phone. No one said his name, just Jason this, Jason that, like he was a burden they had to work around. I walked into his room. He was sitting on the edge of his bed, still wearing the gray dress shirt he'd picked out for the party. Tie half tied, gift box gone from the nightstand. His phone was in his hand. I watched as he tapped through his gallery, one photo at a time. Picture of the radio, picture of his outfit, a selfie with me he took while testing the speakers. He deleted every single one. Didn't say a word, didn't sniff, didn't tear up. Just erased it all and plugged his phone back in like it never mattered. That broke me. I left his room and sat down in the hallway, knees up, fists tight. Not because I was surprised, but because this was just the newest cut in a long line. Like the time he drew that family portrait in second grade. Stick figures of me, him, and the dog. And when he gave it to Mom, she said, "Aw, that's nice," then tossed it on the coffee table under a stack of mail. Or the birthdays where everyone else got cards signed with "Love" and "April" or "Love Grandma," and he got ones that just said "Best wishes" or "Have a great day," like it was from a teacher. Or how every time he tried to help at family events, setting the table, asking where things went, someone always waved him off with, "No, sweetie, that's okay, we've got it." He'd stopped trying after a while. I hadn't noticed when exactly. I stood up and went to the kitchen, opened the trash can. The invitation was still sitting on top. I grabbed it, ripped it clean down the middle, and shoved it deeper. They didn't get to ignore him, cut him out, then ask me to play nice? Not anymore. I didn't buy the paper plates, didn't scrub the patio, didn't drag the folding tables out of the garage or fill the cooler with drinks. That year, the 4th of July just didn't happen. Not for them anyway. For 15 years straight, it was my house, my grill, my playlist, my burgers. I always prepped the day before, even had a checklist on the fridge, buns, condiments, sparklers, sunscreen for the kids. April brought chips, Emily forgot napkins, Mom showed up late and still complained about the heat. Every year, same pattern. This time, I let the weeds keep growing between the patio bricks, left the stack of plastic chairs where they were, covered in dust. Didn't even refill the propane tank. A week before the holiday, the group chat buzzed to life. April, group chat. What should I bring this year? I can do pasta salad or deviled eggs. Emily. Do we need extra chairs for the kids? I think the neighbors might swing by too. I saw the messages, didn't open them, didn't react. 2 days later, April. Dana? Are we still doing this or what? Still nothing from me? Then the tone shifted. April. Let me know if Jason's even gonna show up this time. Or should we just assume he's too sensitive again? I stared at the screen. Thumb hovered. I could have lit her up, could have told her exactly where to shove her pasta salad. But I didn't, because the silence said more. That night, Jason was in the garage working on a motor he'd pulled from an old lawnmower. He had grease on his shirt, music low, head down like always. I sat in the kitchen, scrolling through messages I never answered. One after the other, they kept rolling in. Emily. Are we just not invited now? Mom. Can someone tell me what's going on? April. This is petty, Dana. They didn't get it. They never did. For years, I bent myself backwards, making space for people who had no room for my son. I kept setting the table, hoping one day they'd pull up a chair for him too. They never did. The next day, I woke up to nothing. No texts, no happy fourth memes, no guilt trips. The thread had gone cold. Jason came in from the garage with a screwdriver tucked behind his ear. Are we still doing anything for the 4th? He asked, wiping his hands. Nope, I said. Not this year. He nodded like he already knew. We ended up watching old movies and ordering takeout. No fireworks, no chaos, no pretending, just quiet. And honestly, that felt like a better celebration than any we'd had in years. The morning after the 4th, my phone rang before I even poured coffee. Mom. I let it go to voicemail, but she called again. And again. On the 4th ring, I picked up. Dana, she said, you're being cruel. This isn't you, I said nothing. Just sipped my coffee and stared out the window at Jason and Mark in the backyard. Jason was lighting a leftover sparkler from the night before, the stick flaring up like it still had something to prove. I didn't raise you like this, Mom went on. You're letting a grudge ruin the whole family. I finally spoke. I didn't realize protecting my son was a grudge. There was a pause. Then she huffed like she was the one who'd been wounded. You know what I mean. April was trying. You shut her out, I hung up. 10 minutes later, April sent a voice memo. I didn't even have to hit play. Her name on my screen was enough to spike my blood pressure. But I listened anyway. Her voice was tight, almost shaking. The kind of angry where she thought she sounded calm. April, voice memo. I don't know what you think you're doing, but it's honestly disgusting. You're using Jason to punish everyone. You've always had this martyr complex, and now you're dragging him into it. He's a kid. He doesn't need to be in the middle of adult problems. She ended with, grow up, like that was some mic drop. I deleted it. Back in the kitchen, Jason was setting a tray of brownies on the stove. He'd baked them with Mark while I was outside. The whole house smelled like chocolate and cinnamon. He looked up, grinned. Mark says you're not allowed to touch them until after Uno. Mark popped his head around the corner. She cheats. Jason laughed, really laughed. Full-on belly sound I hadn't heard in weeks. That night, we played 4 rounds on the living room rug. Jason won 3. Afterward, we lit the rest of the fireworks in the yard. Not the big ones, just a couple fountains and a spinning ground bloom. Jason filmed one in slow motion and showed it to me. His eyes lit up behind his phone screen like a little kid again. For once, the house was still. No fake smiles, no backhanded comments. No, just trying to help from people who never did. The next morning, the group chat flared back to life. Emily, group chat. Hope you're happy. April, we tried. Mom, Jason's just never wanted to bond with us. We did our best. That one made me laugh out loud. Did their best? Really? That's what they were going with? I thought about all the years I'd spent keeping the peace, smiling when they said something rude, biting my tongue when Jason got ignored, laughing off their jokes about him not looking like me, not acting like one of us. Every cookout, every birthday, every holiday. I had gritted my teeth so hard I gave myself headaches. And for what? So they could rewrite it now like I was the problem? Number. Not this time. I was wiping down the counter when the knock came. Sharp. 3 solid raps, no doorbell. I looked at the clock. 10:17 a.m. No deliveries scheduled, no neighbors expected. Jason was in his room, headphones on, sketching out something with wires. Mark had already left for work. I pulled open the door and froze. My parents were standing on the porch. Mom had her hair pulled back too tight, like she always did when she wanted to look put together. She was holding a Tupperware of her cornbread, the one she always made for cookouts, with jalapenos and cheddar mixed in. Dad stood beside her, hands in his pockets, mouth pressed in a line. He was the first to speak. Just want to talk. I didn't move. Mom lifted the Tupperware a little, like that was supposed to make things better. We brought you some of your favorite. I didn't even look at it. You didn't respond to our texts, she said, quieter now. You've made your point, Dana. But you're gonna regret letting one kid drive everyone away. I blinked, felt the blood rush to my ears. Then she added, even softer, he's not really one of us. We know you love him, but blood is blood. For a second, I forgot how to speak. The words just sat there in the air like smoke from a fire. I stared at them, at the two people who watched me raise a boy from nothing, who saw what he survived, who knew the nights he screamed in his sleep and the mornings he sat at the table silent, too scared to ask if he was staying another day. He's not really one of us. I found my voice, cold and sharp. You need to leave. Mom's face twitched. Dana. Dad stepped forward. Come on now. We gave you space. We've been patient, I let out a laugh. Patient? You think you've been patient with me? I didn't shout. I didn't curse. I just said it slow, every word cutting through the heat rising in my chest. You don't get to insult my son and then ask to come in. You don't get to stand there holding your cornbread like we're just having a spat. Dad shifted his weight. We're family? We say things we don't mean sometimes? No, I said. You meant it. You all have for years. Every time you left his name off a stocking. Every time you called him my boy, like I found him on the side of the road. Every time you asked me away in front of him, if I told him he was adopted yet. They didn't say anything. He's my son, I said. Not a placeholder. Not some favor I did the system. He is mine. And if that makes me not part of your version of family, then I'll live with that. Mom looked down at the cornbread like she just realized it was heavy. We didn't mean to make you feel like this, she said finally. You didn't make me feel anything. You showed me who you were. I stepped back and started to close the door. Dad raised a hand. Dana, I shut it. Firm, no slam, no drama. Just done. I stood there with my palm on the wood, breath caught in my throat, heart pounding like I'd just run a mile uphill. No tears, just silence. And on the other side, two people who'd finally heard no and had no idea what to do with it. A week after the porch scene, I got an email from Melissa, my cousin on Dad's side. Subject line, thought you should see this. Inside was a forwarded email from Emily, sent to every extended family contact, aunts, uncles, cousins, even two people I hadn't seen since Grandma's funeral in 2009. No greeting, just started right in. We've been quiet out of respect for Dana, but it's gotten out of hand. She's isolated herself and let her adopted son manipulate her into cutting off the entire family. We've tried to reach out. We've shown patience. But this behavior isn't normal, and it's hurtful. Especially after everything we've done for her, I read it twice. Didn't even blink. I wasn't shocked. I knew Emily well enough. The self-righteous tone, the soft-spoken cruelty under all that fake concern. But seeing it written out, like some kind of statement to a jury, that lit a fuse I didn't even realize I still had. 10 minutes later, the text started rolling in. Aunt Carol, text, are you okay? Uncle Dennis, just saw the email. Have you lost your mind? Cousin Tracy, hey, not picking sides, but why punish everyone? I didn't respond. I sat on the couch and scrolled until I saw that comment. Jason had posted a photo of the brownies he and Mark made on the 4th. Just a little caption. Didn't burn them this time. Underneath it, someone had commented, you're lucky. Don't forget who gave you a roof. Not anonymous. Public. One of Emily's friends from church, apparently. Jason didn't say anything. He saw it, tapped it, then just closed the app and went back to his homework. That right there, that's when I snapped. I stood up, went into the closet, pulled out the fireproof box we kept our old papers in. Digging through that thing was like opening a vault of every moment I'd let slide, because I wanted to keep the peace, because I thought biting my tongue made me stronger. Photos of family events Jason wasn't in. Holiday group texts where no one responded when I said Jason would love to help decorate. That birthday card from April that read, "Hope it's a great one. Love ya." The exact same generic line she'd written in cards to coworkers. I had screenshots too. Times they said things like, "He's not your real son though, right? Don't take this the wrong way, but it's different when it's blood." Receipts. So I opened my laptop and started writing. I didn't go off. I didn't cuss anyone out. I didn't play victim or list demands. I told the truth. Plain and clear. I laid out the years of silence, the subtle slights, the way Jason had been treated like an extra instead of a relative. I reminded them how many times I hosted holidays, fed their kids, smiled through jokes I hated, and still got treated like I was the one who changed. I ended it with one line. You're all free to believe whatever version of this story helps you sleep. But you don't get access to us anymore unless you're showing up with love and respect. Both of us or not at all. Then I hit send, only to the extended family. Didn't CC April, didn't CC Emily, didn't even tell Jason. They'd started the smear. I ended the silence. The email went out on a Thursday night. By Friday morning, the replies started coming in. Cousin Rachel sent back a short one. Thank you for saying what needed to be said. Aunt Carol called me brave, said she didn't know the half of it but believed me. Then came the silence. Uncle Dennis, who always had something to say, didn't respond at all. Neither did Tracy or anyone from Mom's side. And of course, a few circled the wagons. One cousin replied, April always made us laugh. You really think she meant harm? Another said, families are complicated. You should have handled this privately. I blocked the ones who argued. Didn't read past the first lines. My block list grew by 6 in 2 hours, and I didn't feel bad about it. Not once. I didn't owe them space in my life just because we shared a last name. That night, Jason was sitting cross-legged on the living room floor, sketching out a circuit board design for some engineering project. His pencil moved quick, confident. He had earbuds in, but only one in his ear. He always kept the other one out, just in case I said something. I was folding laundry on the couch when he suddenly spoke up. Do you think they'd have liked me if I was yours by birth? The question hit me in the chest. I looked up, met his eyes. He didn't flinch, just kept drawing lines across the graph paper like he wasn't asking something massive. They might have faked it better, I said, but this wasn't ever about you. He gave a small nod, erased something, rewrote it. Then, after a beat, I don't care if they like me anymore. I froze, not because he sounded bitter. He didn't. He just said it like a fact. And in that moment, I felt something in me settle, like a tight muscle finally released after holding on too long. He didn't care, not about fitting in, not about being accepted. He wasn't carrying it like I had. He just wanted peace, same as me. I got up, walked over, and kissed the top of his head. He didn't stop drawing, just leaned a little into my side. That was it. That's when I knew I'd done the right thing. Not the easy thing, not the polite thing, but the right thing for both of us. Jason got the Georgia Tech acceptance email in March. He didn't yell or jump around like some kids might have. He just turned his laptop toward me, pointed to the screen, and said, "Guess I'm moving to Atlanta." I nodded, trying to keep it together. Damn right you are. We spent the spring gathering forms, paying deposits, buying twin XL sheets, and way too many notebooks. Mark handled the car maintenance, made sure Jason had tools and jumper cables, like he was sending him off to a survival mission. Then August came. We packed up the SUV and made the 12-hour drive like it was nothing. Jason played playlists the whole way, mostly old-school hip-hop and weird instrumental synth stuff I didn't understand but pretended to like. Move-in day was chaos. Parents everywhere, carts full of bedding, RAs yelling directions. Jason looked older all of a sudden. He unpacked fast, only kept the essentials, lined up his circuits and screwdrivers on his desk like trophies. When it was time to leave, I hugged him longer than I meant to. Started to pull back, but he didn't let go. Then he leaned in close and said, real quiet, "I'm not going anywhere." I nodded into his shoulder and didn't speak. I couldn't. The house felt different after we got back. Quieter, but not sad, just lighter. A week later, a card showed up in the mailbox. Handwritten return address, my parents' house. I knew the handwriting before I flipped it over. Inside, "We'll always be here when you're ready. Love, Mom." No apology. No mention of Jason, just a vague olive branch that expected me to bend first. I tossed it in the drawer with expired coupons and old batteries. Didn't answer. I started hearing things though. Melissa texted me about it. April's telling people you had some kind of breakdown. Apparently, I was unstable, emotionally reactive, influenced by Jason's trauma. I laughed when I read that. Let them talk. There were no more folding chairs stacked in the garage. No more last-minute runs for hot dog buns or giant tubs of potato salad. No more pretending I didn't hear the tone in their voices or see the looks when Jason spoke. Just me, Mark, the dog, and a house that finally breathed easy. And every night, like clockwork, Jason called, sometimes for 5 minutes, sometimes just to ask what setting to use on the rice cooker, sometimes just to hear my voice while he soldered wires in the background. He sounded free, and for the first time in a long, long time, so did I. Some nights, when the house was quiet and the dishes were done, I'd sit on the back steps and let my mind wander. I'd think about all of it, the birthday parties, the group chats, the cornbread on the porch. I'd ask myself, did I overreact? Maybe. Maybe I could have handled it more gently. Maybe I could have talked it out instead of walking away. But then I'd picture Jason at 7 years old, standing by the swing set while the other kids played. He'd asked April once if she wanted to push him. She said, "Ask your mom," then walked back to the patio like she hadn't heard him. I'd think about the Christmas, where he brought everyone hand-drawn cards and got 3 generic ones in return, not even signed with love. I'd remember the way his face looked that day in the garage, deleting every picture from his phone without a word. I let so much of that slide. Too much. Trying to keep the peace, trying to be the bridge, and all it did was teach him that being invisible was normal. That's what it cost him. So no, I don't regret drawing the line. I still hear whispers sometimes, from neighbors who think I'm too sensitive, from old coworkers who miss my potluck casseroles, from church friends who quietly stopped saying hello. They can all keep whispering. Because my son is thriving. He's 3 states away and still calls every night. He sends me pictures of his projects, rants about professors, tells me how he's teaching other students how to solder because they keep burning their wires. He sounds happy, confident, and we're close. Really close. Not just mother and son, but safe place and soft landing. People love to say, you can't choose your family, but they're wrong. I chose mine. I chose Jason. Every single time. And I'll never regret it. Not for a second.